I tested out the new buffed Shred Druid from the Diablo 4 Season 14 PTR, and honestly, it's kinda good. I found a really good setup that cleared me a pit 120 and can speed farm all the way through the Totem 12. Quick disclaimer, although it is with like maxed out glyphs, it is only with a 200 Paragon Board and it's only with most of the best gear I have. So yeah, pretty maxed out gear, but you can still do and get some better gear. But now, what things did I do? So the first thing and the problem is, by far in the PTR you have a huge problem with defense, so you need to stack defense because otherwise you just get obliterated by the monsters. So what did we do to get defense? So let's gonna start with the build setup of this build, how this build will function, and then the first priority and one of the most important things we will discuss the defense, because that's like the most pain point in this season 14 PTR so far. So from my last video, I already said the Malefic Crescent is a really good amulet, because with it the Bloodhowl will get casted every 4 seconds while we are in the werewolf, and with that and the spirit hole we're gonna get 1 spirit instead of 1% life we got. So as you can see, we get 40.5 spirit every time we're gonna heal, and because we're playing with Shred, we're also gonna heal ourselves, and we're also gonna heal with masochistic. So that's really good. And why do we need that? Because of the buffed Storm Shepherd, because our Storm skills no longer cost spirit, but we're gonna get an additional multiplier every time we're gonna spend, and the more resource we spend, the more damage we're gonna get. So we're trying to fill out our resource the fastest we can get, and that's the reason why we're gonna play with that setup of Malefic Crescent, but also we're gonna play with Tybalt's Will, and after we got Unstoppable, we will get 50 resource back. And when you're pit pushing, or with your other bulwark with the Unstoppable. So yeah, these are the kind of most important things. So before we're gonna jump into the details of the build, please share your opinions of the current state of Season 14 PTR in the comments down below. I will also make a separate video on this. It's kind of frustrating because you kind of get random one-shots from like white mobs with like 20k life and full decked out defense reduction. I think there are still some bugs with some of the new mobs, but in general it got a bit harder. It is not that bad. I kind of like that, but yeah, share your opinions in the comments down below. And also, if you like the video so far, please leave a like and a sub, and also visit my TikTok and Twitter and Twitch channels. And then of course the Ifeh Star Totem, with that our crystal skills will get a werewolf skill, so we can take Crystal Rage as our main ultimate, and also we're gonna play with the newly buffed Waxing Gibbous with 78% shred. And on top of that, we're gonna get Dark Hole, so we can now cast Deborah in Werewolf, and this is also one of the most important things because we need a lot of depth. And with Deborah, the enemy is gonna do less damage, 30%, and on top of that, you can slow them. So because we're gonna play with survival instincts, Deborah now needs 50 spirit instead of cooldown, but because we don't need any of our resources for the other skills, we can just get enough skills to constantly cast our Deborah when we have all of our setup up. So as you can see, we can constantly cast our debilitating roar, which is pretty important. For skill setup, we have the shred maxed with the storm shred, the cast speed, and the healing, as we also have lightning storm with hero of the storm. Movement speed is also damage bonus. Then also blood howl, as I said, with the spirit howl, healing and movement speed, and also the bulwark. It is also important you will cast this through your Kwe rune, and with that we're also gonna get some unstoppable and resolve stacks. And we also have Deborah, as I said, so 3 of our death skills. Right now I don't have cycle and armor because I kinda need the attack speed from the wolves, because like the C rune is not that good any longer, so we need to have our wolves on our skill bar with the 40% more attack speed. Also, one pointed hurricane is also all of the movement speeds. Jericho, so we're also gonna weaken our enemies. And then for Crystal Rage, important get Coronet Beast, because we can use it now with Werewolf, with Ifeh style Totem. We're gonna get a lot of huge damage multiplier. Then also Unstoppable and cooldown reduction if you're in farm content, and if you're gonna push, go for armor bonus. So now the most important thing is, how can you fix your defense? It is a pretty big topic. Well, as I said, there are multiple things. First of all, the Dark Hole. With Dark Hole, we can cast our Debilitating Roar as our werewolf skill, and we can kind of cast this as often as we want. We're gonna reduce the damage dealt by the enemies by 30%, and also we're gonna slow them by 40%, and we're also gonna get 20% bonus max life. That's a lot, and that's also pretty huge. And we can also cast this as Crystal Rage because of the Dark Hole. On top of that, we have Turret's Might. That's kind of mandatory, so we're gonna get a lot of damage reduction. You also want to aim for the crit on your all-res. And also we have the helmet with the aspect of debilitating toxins. Get 30% damage reduction, and also on top of that, 15% less damage from poison. If you want, you can also play with Gathlin's Birthright, so you will get Cyclone Armor. I'm still not sure if the Cyclone Armor passive will get triggered if you don't have it on your skill bar, but that's also another huge defense source. Yeah, we just can need a defense option here. You can also play with Harlequin's Crest, but then you're giga squishy, and I don't recommend this. So on top of that, we have max life on all of our death stats, as you can see, max life here, max life here, max life here, and then also try to get like max life on your chest, try to get max life and all stats on your pants, and so on and so forth, and also on your helmet, so you will get more max life. Right now I got 20k. We also have the right here with some more resistance. We have currently 1.2 million toughness. With this, we have even more in all of these things. So yeah, we are pretty good on our defense, so we kind of don't even die only if the high pits, because I still think they are kind of bugged, the enemies, because they can defeat you with like one hit, and that's from a normal enemy. But besides that, it's a pretty great build, and we are pretty tanky. So I want to show you now a quick showcase on the Pit 100 kind of speed farm, and after that I will show you the rest of my Unix and my gear in general. We'll quickly show you the Paragon Board and also some important stats like attack speed or crit chance, because the problem is with the Hair of Perdition nerf that we kind of need that crit chance from other sources now. So we're gonna do a quick 100 speed farm and just cast your Hurricane, and then cast a Lightning Storm, go into your Deborah, and then cast your Shred, and always cast a Deborah. And as you can see, it is pretty easily. We can just melt it through enemies, and this will be really fast. And yeah, as I said, it's also pretty fast when you're farming normal T12 content, because Pit 100 is basically your Tom 12, as you can see. It is really fast, and after all our nerfs received, it is still a pretty good build. So I still don't know if Druid Weber will be better, because I don't know if the resource stacking will stay and will survive the PTR with the 500% through Might of the Ursa. I hope not, because then the Weber might still be better, but Shred is at least a pretty good contender to get some pretty heavy damage numbers out, because and I even did damage chance in like the trillions. So we can get even faster, because I will show you this in a minute. We can get even a better Talisman setup, but I didn't have the Mythic Talisman where we're gonna get additional slots, so we can use 2 sets. That would be even better. So yeah, this build will do even more damage on the live server. So what I'm talking about is the Talisman, as I said, the Storm Shepherds, but we also want to use the Old Mountain, and I'm still thinking about if I should go for the 5-set Old Mountain and then 2 set of Storm Shepherd, or if I should keep the 5 set because it is now heavy buffed, and go for the 2 set. So we're gonna fossilize, so we're gonna stun the enemies and gonna do more damage with 100% crit strike damage, and that's a lot. Currently I have the Dirge of Aradaya on my unique one. Also test out some things like our Fists of Fate, but yeah, still need to test it out a bit more. For the rest of the gear, we have Thunder God's Blessing. It's also a giga huge item. It will give us a lot of results, which give us damage reduction, and it will also deal 270% damage with a chance that is also pretty huge. Then we have a aspect with more crit strike damage when we're in Werewolf. Also, we have attack speed, and then you also need crit chance on this. Pretty important. As a Tempest, I think you want to have cooldown reduction. And then we also have like your legendary boots. Currently, we need the overcharge aspect on the boots because it is bugged and we don't have the prism to get it on our amulet, but later on you can even get more damage reduction. Then for the rest of the gear, you already know this. The legendary aspect, Tyrell's Might, Dark Hole, Tibor's Will, our overcharge aspect, Waxing Gibbous with Ifeh Totem, Malefic Crescent, Archdruids, and Thunder Gods. For the Spirit Boons, currently I got Varanus because of the damage reduced from Elites, and also Aven Wrath is also Calamity and Calm for the Storm. And for your Paragon Board, pretty simple. Just take Fulminate in the second board, take your Thunderstrike, in your next board take Constricting Tendrils, in your second last board take your Lust for Carnage, and then in your last board take your Ancestral Guidance. You can even think about switches out with your Poison board where you're gonna get even more damage. For our glyphs we have Fang Claw, Earth and Sky, Fulminate, Keypine, and then Spirit. So I think this will be a pretty good build for the beginning of the new season, because you kind of only need to have like Ifeh Totem. Even without that, you can get a pretty good Cataclysm setup going in this kind of budget, and you can basically start this with a 2 set bonus. This will also carry you along the way to Torment 12. I will also make updates when the season arrives, and yeah, please post your opinions of the PTR so far in the comments down below, because the opinions are pretty divided right now. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave a like and a sub. Boost my channel tremendously, and it would mean a lot to me. And until next video, bye.